As you can see, the Olympic College Board of Trustees is holding their regular board meeting. We are waiting for them to get situated and pump their sound through. So once they are able to do that, there we go. All right, looks like we've got audio.
Before we begin tonight's meeting, I just would like everyone to recognize that if you are speaking, speak loudly and slowly for any interpreters. And I will turn it over to Vice Chair Ekman to begin the meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Nice meeting to order. I'm obviously not Cheryl, but Cheryl will make it this evening, so I'm really good. So our first call the meeting to order, or first matter of business is a study session. We've been over quite some time. So study session is going to be on workforce development, presented by Amy Hatfield, Norma, Whitacre. Dean Hatfield and Whitacre, on behalf of the board, thank you for being here. We'll let you take it from here.
The official place for stand right there. I think he's on right there.
The owl camera is right there, so it might be beginning.
This is for you, Adam. You're not going to be loud.
As long as you speak loudly, you should be fine.
Okay. Ready to go. Okay, well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to share information about workforce programs today. What we're planning on doing is that Amy and I will be talking about a little bit about the scope of programs that we offer, just to get started, what are our programs, degrees, etc. And then we're going to move into the service area, so everybody understands exactly how we're, who we serve and how we look at some of the data related. And program development, which is everything from new programs to actually closing programs. Right, so we're going to talk a bit about that, and finally funding, because there's money involved with professional technical programs that you may not think about, that follows the student and follows the tech programs specifically. So Amy's our expert there, and she's going to share information about that. And you're welcome to ask questions anytime. We're certainly going to have at the end opportunity for questions, but stop us and say, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there, okay? But you can't tell me to talk slower because I don't know how to talk. That's not fair. Okay, so to begin with, we have a slide, and we move to the list of programs. There you go. So this, of course, is the best piece of business and technology programs in my division. And we're not going to go down them one by one, but you can see there's a wide range of programs. I always have the best job at college because on one day I was talking to a CIS faculty about, you know, a new lab, and the next day I might be with well-being talking about some safety issues, right? So it's a really wide range of programs. I feel very fortunate to be able to work with all the faculty represented by those programs. Next slide, please. But some of the programs are in other areas, and I'll just let you look there as well. You can see that just about every one of our divisions, I guess all of our divisions, have at least one professional technical program. And what I want to say about PropTech before we go forward is that professional technical programs are designed to prepare graduates for immediate job placement. Okay, we know that there are pathways from short-term certificates to degrees, and that we oftentimes are able to move our graduates into baccalaureate programs, particularly in college. But our goal is really focused on preparing them for jobs and for career mobility. So, I'm not sure what we're doing there right now. Okay, thank you. So that's the two lists of programs that we currently have. And as we go forward, you will see that it's constantly shifting and changing. This is not sit still. Workforce programs are always on the move, adding, taking away, streamlining, etc. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Amy, and she is going to talk about the service area and program development. So next up, please, Anna.
If you could speak a little louder, folks at home are having just a little bit of difficulty.
Okay, you're not very close to the owl. Yeah, right. I can move. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for your patience on that. So as you know, we have a two-county service district, right, which is very different than a lot of colleges. I live half a mile from the border in Pierce County, but we have 4 colleges serving Pierce County, and we only have the OC as a single entity. So you can see that we go from North Kitsap all the way through Bremerton down into Mason County. And I think that's really important to see our campuses. I also start, because it's not an official campus, I don't want to get into trouble, but there's a lot of instructional effort in Norma overseas at the shipyard. And one of the other key demographics are the square area of Kitsap is only half of that of Mason County. So Mason County physically is double in the size of Kitsap, but in terms of population, Kitsap is actually 4 times the size of Mason County. And I think the other thing that's really, I looked at a whole bunch of things from percentage of high school graduates, all of that, but one of the things that really stood out for me is the percentage of the population at or below the poverty level. So if you start up in Bainbridge, right, at the very top, the percentage of people at or below the poverty level is 4%. And when you come down into Mason, it gets higher, and then when you're specifically in Shelton, it's 24%. So that's a big job. It's a heavy lift to start from 4% down to 24%. So I think that's really important that we always keep that front of mind on who our students are really. Next slide, please. Okay, so when we're talking about program development, some of the most important things that we look at are, how much demand is there for this occupation? If there's demand, is there actually wages, good wages and advancement opportunities? Are they aligning with the key industry sectors, right? So both Kitsap and Mason have their own industry sectors, so there's a lot of overlap, but they're not identical. And then also guided pathways. How is this work fitting in with the vision of the college, where we're going, and then also employer involvement. How involved are the employers? Are we sure that we're meeting the needs of our customer, which is both the student and the employers? Next slide. So this is just a quick one. This is advisory committee input. This is one of the most incredibly important parts of our work and what we do is getting that feedback from our advisory committees. And we try to honor them. Right before the pandemic, that was our last. And we did do a virtual one this spring, but really, we don't start a program or close a program without talking to our advisory committees. Next slide. And then here, you'll hear a lot from the deans about wanting quality programs, making sure that we have quality programs. So it might be a little small, but faculty, what is the requirement for faculty? There are some programs, for instance, Homeland Security, where they have 1 tenured faculty and everyone else practicing professionals because they're first line responders and they need people who are very up to date. Or like when we did PTA, we had to be faculty on for an entire year before the program launched. We also want to make sure that we have the adequate resources to support faculty in their professional development. And then also that, when we're looking at it, are there third-party accreditations that will give us that additional stamp of approval? So then we also look at the facilities. How big of a space does it need to be? And what are some of the other requirements? When we've gotten grants in the past, we actually had to upgrade the panel. We had to look at the airflow and get the dust out and things like that. So that's important. And then also with equipment, how often does it have to be replaced? Technology, are we keeping pace? And then consumables. Consumables can be really, really expensive in a program. And then, I should have brought my glasses, but over on the end here, also looking at our output. So yeah, and we really want to do a lot of work, this later, on aligning our work with industry-based and industry-recognized credentials. And then also partnerships, which Norma will talk a little bit more about.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a little awkward, sorry.
Yes, I would like to talk a little bit about strategic partnerships. When we think of workforce programs, we always think of partnerships. We think of everything from advisory committee that Amy pointed out to some really specific partnership that allow us to get the students completing work-based learning. Because if you think about work-based learning, and by that I mean everything from apprenticeships to internships to final projects at an employer's site, this is what connects our students with the real world, right? We can do all the training we want in the classroom, but we need to find ways from the very beginning to get those students engaged in what it means to work in that field. The state board is really strong right now on work-based learning. That is one of their main focus areas, I think we could say. And so we need to think about strategic partnerships. I would hope that we never start a program again unless we have a really strategic partner with employers. And by strategic, I don't mean just being an advisory fee is great because that's an important part of our programs, but I'm talking about a deep partnership. Like, for example, I'm going to give you 3 examples of that. One is Regis County Shipyard. This is, of course, our biggest professional technical program. We have around 550 analyzed FTE in that program. It's not as high as 800 at different times. Marty's not going to want to hear this, but as we go into 22, 23, we're going to be a little bit down in our enrollments. We have this year, I think 550, and so it's a little bit less than that next year. Don't get me started on PSN as I come. Just using this example as a partnership, because it's not just by words. We're talking about day to day. I'm at the shipyard, they're at the college, we are sharing information with the faculty, our accreditation is dependent upon what they do there. So it's a very strong partnership that is collaborative and that has many, many strategic aspects. Neither they can do an apprentice without us, we couldn't do it without them, so it's very strategic. Another that I will share is with the program we're getting started fall quarter, and that is the Huntington Ingalls and Ship Repairs Association. They came to us and said they wanted to offer a marine electrical program. So they are going to send us some students. They promised us at least 12 students, and we are working hand in hand with them and not only developing the curriculum, but it's work-based because they're apprentices along with being.
Well, we don't need location.
Every place. Yeah, they their home base is back in, I think it's like North Carolina. I'll get to that exact place, but they're coming out to visit us in a couple of weeks to talk about this particular project. They have people who work as contractors around, but as far as their base is around. I'll get that details for that if you like. They are one of the largest shipbuilding organizations in the world. Yeah, they're huge. So they came to us, and it's going to be an ongoing partnership. So I call that one strategic. And I'm going to list Shelton Construction Companies as strategic partnership. We're still working out what that's going to look like, but I want to shout out to Allison Smith, who has done a phenomenal job working with the local community. So we said we want to maybe do this program. Everybody came to the table and talked about what they could contribute. So before we launch that program, I would hope that we have some employers who are willing to do work-based learning, where we actually have students planning on not just being in the classroom or in the shop, but also in the employers. So there's lots of examples of strategic partnerships, but I really believe that any new program has to have a meaningful strategic partner with an employer to be successful. I just want to add one thing. The reason for that, students, they get to pick where they're going to go to school and what they're going to do. The idea of not just having the strategic partner so that we can do a good job with our curriculum and our training, students then are likely to get paid. It's like a real incentive. We need some incentives to get our students to enroll in our programs. So strategic partnerships, very important. The last thing I'm going to talk about briefly is, again, the program development that Amy shared a bit about. Can we go one more slide, please? Thanks. So program development, you can kind of divide it into 3 areas. The first is update current programs. And if you talk to some of our faculty, they will say we are constantly updating our program. It's an ongoing thing that they do. CIS, I think, does it every year. They change some of their programs to be on top of what the employers want. But we also do streamline, downsize, and close programs. These are not quite as much fun, but the streamlining can be. I'll give you some examples of that. This past year, we've had our faculty from organizational leadership and business management working together. So some of the classes that they offer, they seem almost duplicative, or we say it seemed that way, so we collapse those together. So we aren't offering as many classes and there's more overlap between programs. That's kind of a streamlining effort. We've also downsized. Business management had 2 faculty, now it has 1. Culinary arts had 2 faculty, now it has 1. We've had to close programs. We closed composites and electronics. So it's always turning. I guess that's what I want to say. To be on top of workforce, you can't sit back. You've got to continually update and be working it. And then finding new programs. Some people say a lot about that. I think Amy already shared kind of some of the processes, some of the important parts of that. It's funding new programs, right? So we all love that part. And that's always got to be something we're looking at. What are we going to do next? Where's our next great enrollment going to come from? So that's a bit about program development.
So could you describe that process? How do you come up with the idea for that program? Go out and interview the CEOs, executives, and you go organization?
I'll share a little bit, then I'll let them share as well. Does that sound good? I think that the idea comes from every place. It can come from, as a mom, I know my daughter's in the program, I'm now going, I think we should be offering that this offer on the other side of Tacoma, right? Because I'm looking at the enrollments and how well it's moving with their employers. So it can come from students sometimes. I think that the most likely place is from faculty, because faculty are working with local employers. But it can come from any place, right? And then we look at the kind of some of the things that Amy did, that the two biggest things, I'm gonna say strategic partnerships, that wasn't on your list, but I think that's gotta be part of it, that's something integral there to helping us do work-based learning. Then there's gotta be jobs, right? So the research comes next. After you have the idea, comes the research. Are there jobs? Where are the jobs? How much do you get paid? And then we get the part about development and getting all the employers involved. Sometimes we have focus groups with employers that are just talking about this one area. We get people from around our service district and say, what do we think about this program? What should it look like? How should we go forward with it? So we're always asking and listening when it comes up doing new programs.
Right. A company like Amazon, for example, is not in our district,
Yeah.
but is doing a lot on the other side of the sound with colleges and developing new programs. Do we have an opportunity, or we talk to them and they say, no, you're not our way? Or?
So if an employer is not in our district, then generally the president to president have to talk about that. If we want to go after a particular employer partnership that's outside, then generally we have to get that approved by our presidents at both places. So we tend not to go after companies that aren't in our district. But if they are, and I think Amazon probably has some business right here in our area, so I think we should go after it. I think that's a big apple ready for us to move forward.
Right. Well, I know some I've talked to people in our film program here about Wizards of the Coast. You know, this is a big hub for gaming community,
Right.
and there was a lot of interest. But those companies are on the other side of the sound.
So I'm glad you mentioned gaming. Our faculty, we have the faculty now in CIS, and our existing faculty are looking at doing these. So I think that's one of the ideas stage right now.
So if we can go to the next slide, Adam, I want to just be mindful of the time. Okay, so these are programs that are under development, right? So Norma's already, well, the Aviation Technology Partnership, we have had a partnership and agreement. We're actually officially launching this fall, and that's with Green River, and we're very, very excited about that. There's a big signing event out there on the 27th of August, and then also in the spring we launched the drones program, which is the uncrewed aerial vehicles, and then also the filmmaking certificate. We had a new documentary one that launched in fall, and then construction trades. Norma's already mentioned that's been approved by the state board. It's on our inventory. It's we just need to implement it. Marine electronics, again, ready and approved by the state board, awaiting implementation. And then the associate control specialist, that's not a certificate, that's just an approved apprenticeship program, but now that we're going to hopefully have some more resources, we can pursue that. And that's really the occupation of the future, right? The smart homes, the smart buildings, the smart renovations. Next slide, please. Okay, and then these are the ones that are in development that aren't quite on our inventory yet. So we are working with healthcare consortium to do 3 behavioral health apprenticeships, right? And I just need Martin's signature to get it off, but we're very excited about that. Read the different occupations there, but this is last session and even the session before really highlighted the need for mental health services. So very excited. Early childhood, we were able to get a perfect special projects grant for our faculty member, Gail Julian, to develop in partnership with, I think, 3 other colleges, an outdoor education course. This is going to be a commonly numbered course at Compact, which is a really big deal. And then OC is going to, once that course is approved, it'll go into its 20 credit certificate, and OC will be the lead for a single application for all the colleges involved. So it's one and done, right? Instead of back and forth, back and forth. And then also Homeland Security Emergency Management. The tribal certificate is really, you know, I think here should be proud of the work of the faculty there. And this is in response to, we've had a lot of natural disasters recently, and what first responders in our traditional culture, I think is the most important thing. Like, okay, of course, saving lives and recovery, but also, continuity of operation to get those businesses up and running. Whereas our tribal partners, oftentimes it's, well, wait a minute, those are sacred lands. I mean, there's a whole different approach taken to the response during the disaster. And then also the healthcare emergency management certificate. Again, so both of those are done in partnership with Pierce, which is really great. And we're able to collect all the FTEs. We do we slide tuition over to them, but if we need FTEs, that's what we want. That's great. And then criminal justice, there was just a meeting up at Passcode with one of the sheriff's offices. And the faculty have looked in our called an 18 credit certificate for criminal justice. So it's that whole, like you said, get back, circle back to things where this is what we want. And then keep us going quickly. So next slide, please, Adam. So exploring some allied health, occupational therapy, surgical tech, and I have a list of 19 other programs in allied health that we're going to be looking at. The Human Services EAS, Dr. Becky Seaman is working with the faculty on that. We just have a newly tenured Human Services faculty who's very interested in that. The computer science bachelor degree, that is a system effort, which because it's not an applied baccalaureate, it's taken some doing, and the state board has been very supportive. Really looking at industry recognized credentials for our existing programs, how many things we that are relevant in our students as graduates that will help them showcase their skills to employers. And then, we'll introduce for in a minute, continuing in community education. So really excited about that. And then the next one is.
So can I ask, so we can't get into one of these, but allied health in particular, how long does it take to stand up a program like that once we decide we want to go?
Well, it depends on the length of the program. It depends whether or not we have a third party accreditation. It depends on the facilities, depends on the pocketbook to see what we can do getting them.
So if I ask you to focus on low hanging fruit there, we want to know where we
So
know.
surgical tech seems like a low hanging fruit to me,
Okay.
because I think we could have some shared spaces
Right.
with our existing programs.
Right.
Yeah.
When we talk about our enrollment shortfall, looking for programs where we know that there's students that want to do this.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. You're right on there. And then this one is, again, those partnerships that Norma was mentioning. So we are in conversations with Green River for an articulation between our uncrewed aerial vehicle and the 15 credit 3-course certificate, and they have that as well. So we're looking at their articulation there. For those behavioral health apprenticeships, they won't go into our program because they don't have English 101 and other things, but Eastern Washington University is very interested in those students in creating a pathway to them. So we have a meeting on the 24th with Eastern, and then also fashion marketing. Right now, 7 out of the 8 fashion marketing courses go in direct transfer to Central Washington University to go to their Bachelor's of Science program. And now WSU has approached us. They like to talk to us about their Bachelor of Science and our fashion marketing. So those are just a few of the things that we're doing. And I think there's one more for me. So what you see here is the student focused aid. So, and this is just workforce development, workforce economic development. So it doesn't include opportunity grant and all that. But we have funds that come in that are really there to support the students. But then we also have funds that are institutionally focused. And a big part of work retraining is focused on the institution. In Perkins, we support the people in access services. We support the staying office. We support childcare scholarships. And then Perkins Leadership, we've gotten funds there. Like when the CIS faculty really took the curriculum, all the CompTIA certifications were expiring. We were able to get funding for them to just revamp everything to the new standards. And then the special projects I already talked about. And then IBES is really important because we do get 1.75 FTEs for every qualified IBES FTE. So But Norma mentioned too, like when top tech programs go away, all of these pots of money decrease. So we always need to be thinking, what is that tier 2 and tier 3 impact when we do close the programs? So that's really important.
So these are state funded.
Yes.
I didn't know where to insert this question, but when we're talking about strategic partnerships and workforce, where do we get these funding from those strategic partners?
Well, I would say Eagles typically is going to be paying tuition, right?
Sure, and I think even more than that, but certainly tuition is part of what we get.
Sure.
But in terms of the actual partnership, sometimes we get a place to offer our programs. Again, we've got PSNS, although I think that could easily be other places as well, where you're at their employment in your place of business. So I think that is a really good partnership.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have an item on the agenda later tonight where we have a funding shortfall in welding. That facility that we're rehabbing, and we're looking now at the different college funds that make up that shortfall. But it seems to me that's an area where looking to strategic partners to share the pain.
Safe Boats is a potential partner for that. They're a really good partner for us in terms of internships, et cetera, but they actually offer to do some things for us from the standpoint of the shop. But there's still a cost. They were willing to give us something, giving a really good deal, but there was still some cost. So I think that's a really good point. Safe Boats, I just put a shout to them. They're really right there with us. Okay. The next one, I think is a couple of quick things I want to back up to just very briefly, and that is about our faculty use whole process. We haven't talked a lot about faculty, but there's two things I just want to point out. One is that during the pandemic, when many of our programs are going online only, most of our professional technical faculty had basic-based classes throughout. They knew we needed to have that in order to even keep those programs. And the students would not have any options if we didn't have a face-to-face. They came through, and so almost all the programs in B&T and I think several in other areas had faculty who continued throughout the pandemic offering classes face-to-face. So we talked about enrollment. If we didn't do that, we would start from scratch. Even though our enrollments are low, it would be worse if we hadn't done that. The other thing about faculty is that when we think about all that's going on with workforce, that impacted faculty workforce is pretty significant because in prop tech, they're always changing their curriculum, they're always working in this way. So I just want to mention that about faculty. So as we recap, basically we wanted to share with you about our programs, kind of the list of programs we offer, certainly some of the program development issues and our funding source and service areas. So that's what we have for you. Did you want to have any questions for us? And I'm going to find out what that home base is.
I'm gonna put my money on Louisiana, but we'll see.
Southern Mississippi.
Is it Mississippi? Oh,
That's
okay.
the rule.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, wow. So are we
I should have said that.
agenda number 2, Adam?
Chair committee.
Oh, sorry.
Sure.
All right. So any other questions? Great. Thank you very much. We loved it.
Well, yeah, no, it's exciting work. And if we are on the next one, if I could go first, that'd be great. I just because I hurt my foot. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Terry Potts. She comes to us with over 20 years experience in the CTC system. She has worked at 4 different colleges, right? Centralia and Evans and York and Waka. And then most recently she was the I sent her a note. I will call you. But anyway, most recently she was the CEO of a nonprofit, United Way to the Home Mission.
Yeah, just a little, just for a second, just to say that, yeah, at all 4 of the colleges that I've worked at, I started as a secretary for workforce education at Centralia College. Worked my way up through a couple of degrees and several different jobs, but all of them had a community and continuing ed component to them. Either developing classes or running classes or doing partnerships, with Evans, we worked with Boeing and did about $2 million a year with them. So I've had a lot of experience in that area, so hoping that I can get this program relaunched here. I'm really excited about it, so.
Today's Tori's first day, so.
Yeah.
Can't give you results yet, sorry. But we figured this was a nice environment for you to meet her, and so we're really so excited to have her on board.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, move on to the addition items. Introduction of new college employees. Evan?
Vice Chair Ekman, yes, we do have some new employees in addition to Dr. Cox. First up, we'll have President Cavaluzzi provide his introduction.
Thank you. Trustees, employees, fellow community members, before I introduce a new employee, I would like to present an old employee who's right up there on the screen. Is there a way to make her live? There she is. Evelyn Hernandez, until today, was our Chief Information Officer. Today, she began a new position in Seattle. She's had multiple opportunities over the years since I have known her, and she just continued to stay with OC, and finally one of them presented itself and she couldn't say no. So I'm very happy for her, very sad for us, but she began her career as a student at OC. So she is when you hear there's not a lot of opportunities for internal growth, here's an example of one that's happened. Started as a student and kept going all the way through as our Chief Information Officer. And now she's moving on. And I just wanted her to an opportunity to say bye for all of you to say what you want to say.
Thank you, Marty. I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure being at OC. I was there for a long time and met a lot of good people. So thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Yeah, thank you, Evelyn. We're going to miss you.
Next up, we have President Cavaluzzi providing another introduction.
So, and speaking of other employees who began their career as a student, introduce Lynn Kaiser, who is also up on the screen. Beginning today, her first day as our interim Chief Information Officer. So she is here. Lynn began her career at Olympic College, getting an Associate of Technical Arts in Web Design and Development. She also earned a degree of Associate of Technical Arts in Computer System Design and Development at Olympic College. And not only that, she earned a Bachelor of Applied Science Information Systems from Olympic College. So she's done all that. She has been here since 2002. She began her career in both technical services and customer services, where she worked from 2002 to 2013. From there, she served as a system administrator from 2013 to 2015, and then she became the Director of Systems Administration Support / Operations Manager from 2015 until August 15th, 2022.
Nice to meet everybody. I want to thank Dr. Cavaluzzi for this opportunity, and I'm really excited to get going.
And welcome.
Welcome.
We're pleased to have you.
Okay. Next up, we have Angela Hamilton.
Hello. Hello. I would like to introduce, I'm sorry, I'm in 2 conferences right now, but with State Board. Sorry, I'm gonna pause them because I didn't want you to hear them in the background. Okay, so I need to introduce Scott Yimbo. He has been hired as our financial reporting and compliance analyst. Scott's journey in higher education started in 2014 at Olympic College, and since he's graduated with a bachelor's degree in finance from McNeese State University in 2018, and he immediately entered the accounting field. He is currently working on his MBA at Seattle University with a focus in accounting, and Scott has accounting experience in various industries, including transportation, property management, and construction. And we're happy to have him here at Olympic.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm excited to be here and all the opportunities here.
Welcome, Scott.
Great, Scott. Welcome. Welcome to see you.
Okay, and then I would like to also introduce Michelle McCastle. She was hired as a cashier in student financials 2 weeks ago, and as of today, she's moved temporarily to the financial analyst 2 role in the cashier's office. She will be handling student billing for payment of student payments, tuition, books, and other costs to maintain compliance with the accounting requirements. Michelle recently moved to Washington State from Georgia 2.5 months ago and was working for West Georgia Technical College as an asset manager for 8 campuses throughout Northwest Georgia. There, she handled and tracked every asset by location and custodian, making sure the faculty as well as the support staff had assets assigned to them. Prior to that, she worked in the auto dealership industry and handled over 700 contracts a month. She stepped in and took a position that initially required 3 associates and streamlined the processes so that she could handle all 3 positions in one role while saving the company money and preventing loss and increasing commissions. Her alma mater is Purdue University, where she received an AA in paralegal studies, a BS in legal studies, and she has a master's in finance. She has a driving need to exceed expectations and comes with the attitude that even if unseen, it will be here. She will be here to make a positive impact on her local community every day. Welcome to the team, Michelle.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you. Great to have you on board.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I believe that is all of the remaining employee introductions.
Okay, we'll move on to a report to the Board of Trustees. Larry, anything to report?
I just want to thank Marty and for that wonderful retreat we had yesterday.
I agree. I think for those who don't know, the trustees had an all-day retreat yesterday. A chance for us to get a real thorough briefing on a lot of things that are going on at the college. Something we don't always get to see, and it was a very, very productive day. I guess all I would like to add is I want to thank the people that were in the public comment in our June meeting regarding the Sophia Bremer COVID Learning Center. I mean, you were heard, and I know the college went back, and I appreciate what Marty and the other team members did to go back and really look at that, and figure out a way to keep that going. And so I know we have more work to do, but again, I want to thank all of you for stepping up and supporting the program. Okay, moving on. Communication from the public, Adam.
Vice Chair Ekman, we do have one member from the public, Ms. Deb Montes. You have the floor.
John, just sit there. I can sit here. It's okay.
Yep.
As y'all know, I don't need no mic, so
Clear.
I have a gymnasium voice. Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak to you today. Today, I apologize for that. I'd like to talk about a couple of different things, which is our current contract bargaining session. I apologize. I'm Deborah Montes. I am the WPEA staff representative representing Olympic College. So during the previous contract bargaining session, we were full on in the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic in Washington State and across the world. This bargaining session was extremely challenging, and it had never occurred in that type of scenario before, all by remote and under this new app called Zoom. So while under the international and national health emergency of the COVID pandemic, we had a particularly stressful bargaining session with the state that went beyond the standard bargaining deadline. Now, WPEA does also represent agencies in
general government section and the higher education section. So as there were such vast differences in the unions and the state's positions, we felt it necessary back then to extend the collective bargaining session beyond the contract bargaining deadline, which is very unusual for us to do that. It doesn't usually end up doing very well. But we felt it was extremely important to represent our members' needs and concerns at the bargaining table. And we did come to a successful resolution. There was an additional MOU that was bargained with the state in regards to the compensation piece, which was able to go into effect July 1st of this year, which there was a 3.25% COLA for all our classified employees, as well as a lump sum payment that was bargained with the state. That was basically a type of a thank you for the extended issues and challenges that employees had maintained during the pandemic and keeping things going while things were in such chaos. So currently, our bargaining session right now, we're currently the bargaining session for 23-25 contract. We have member representatives at the bargaining table for our colleges, and we have been actively bargaining since May. Normally, WPEA needs to have a tentatively agreed to contract sent to our members for ratification by October 1st. So that kind of relates back to what I said, why it happened. It would be on the deadline last time. Unfortunately, we are almost headed there again this year. This year's bargaining has been far from normal again. On July 29th, we had no choice but to file an unfair labor practice against the colleges for not bargaining in good faith. The union contract has approximately 65 articles and appendices, including the MOUs. And after 3 months of bargaining, we have only one of these articles tentatively agreed to. And we haven't even begun to discuss the compensation piece. It is also August 16th right now. So the college's bargaining representative, the Office of Financial Management, has refused to make their team available for bargaining on a consistent basis. And when we do have bargaining, they are not responsive to our concerns. And we do not get counter proposals, which is a standard bargaining operation. After repeatedly asking for more dates and responses to our proposals, our only formal recourse was for filing the ULP. A copy of that ULP can be found on our WPEA website. So if you'd like to look at that, we encourage you to do so. And I realize the timer went off, but I'd like to also make one other comment. On last Saturday, I attended the memorial service for a former Olympic College employee, Janice Johnson. Janice Johnson was a longtime employee here at Olympic College, Shelton. She was the go-to person here. She was the ultimate representative of the classified staff person at Olympic College. She was summarily dismissed from her position here under unusual circumstances, and she went to move on to Seattle Shellfish. When the last year that Janice was here, she received Employee of the Year at the Spring Awards. Within the next year and a half, she worked at Seattle Shellfish. And she went from a volunteer position within a year and a half to running the HR department, and she also won Employee of the Year at Seattle Shellfish. So I'd just like to say, Janice was a very powerful force here at OC Shelton, and I'll tell you this, she is one of the main reasons that this campus is still up and running. So I'd just like to give her the notification and the props she deserves for what she gave to Olympic College and the community. Thank you. I'll get back with everything.
There's no other public comment this evening.
All right, we'll move on now to reports to the board portion of the agenda. So, student government at Olympic College board report.
The student government is not up and running at this time. They don't get on board until next month, so their reports will start in September.
Question Public Employees Association board report.
We have Nora Downer to give the WPEA report this evening.
Okay, I'm looking for my report. Where did it go? Okay, here it is. Good evening, and thank you, members of the Board of Trustees, for this opportunity to speak to you about some of the topics that we have been working on over the past several months. The first one is the Sophia Bremer Early Learning Academy update. On July 7th, the union received a notice that SBELA program would not be outsourced as originally announced on May 25th. After significant input from staff, faculty, and our community, as well as further review by the administration, the college has decided to fully support SBELA and its employees and children for another fiscal year, 22-23. The classified staff in SBELA have been extremely dedicated during these trying pandemic times and have been working hard to ensure the program's viability. The long-term anxiety and potential loss of their jobs was an incredibly stressful experience for all of those staff who have endured the last 3 years at SBELA. In the restructure plan provided, the college has proposed initial recruitment and retention bonuses, as well as some position upgrades that will benefit classified staff that are currently in place. This more transparent communication with the stakeholders, including our broader community, was stressful for everyone involved, and it could have begun much earlier, but it was invaluable in the end in making a well-informed decision so the Academy can move forward with planning and enrolling children. We sincerely hope the college continues to communicate openly with the employees and be as transparent as possible to ensure the continued quality and success of the SBELA programs that they have historically provided our community. Moving on to demand to bargains. The facilities reorganization. Olympic College originally sent notice to the union in December of 2020. The union met with OFM and HR on August 5th of 2022. That's a long time. We believe there was a successful resolution to the proposed facilities reorganization plan. There will be follow-up with some historical pieces regarding positions in facilities, but overall, this plan appears to be ready to be implemented. The telework policy. We have had an initial informal discussion and then quickly realized that this would need to go to a formal demand to bargain. Olympic College sent notice to the union on March 25th, and then a revised notification was sent to the union on May 16th. The union filed a formal demand to bargain on May 17th. We met with OFM and HR on August 5th, and a lot of progress was made. However, there are still some issues that need to be clarified, and another meeting will be scheduled soon to clear up the remaining details. The Cedar High MOU, OC originally notified the union on July 7th regarding the renewal of an MOU from the last academic year. The union was never notified of the previous MOU, and we filed a demand to bargain for the current proposed MOU on July 26th. The union has not received the proposed MOU for this year. We are waiting for the college to provide that draft before we are able to continue with this demand to bargain. Recruitment, retention, and attrition. The union is still acutely aware of the ongoing recruitment and retention issues for open classified positions at Olympic College. The continued attrition of employees has lasting impacts on the remaining classified staff. For example, continuous training of new employees takes considerable time and effort for senior employees. This has a direct impact on their ability to successfully continue their own daily work. If you work with classified staff, please be aware of this constant pressure on employees to do what they've always done. Our classified staff are the backbone of this college, and we appreciate your support and understanding when these daily challenges arise. Position reviews. The union is aware of several position reviews that are still in process with human resources. There is some concern from members that the timelines and time frames for completion of these reviews are getting longer and longer. With the start of fall quarter around the corner, there's obvious pressure to get these detailed reviews completed prior to the start of our busiest term. Returning to work in-person situations. Many members have reached out to our stewards with concerns about returning to offices and working in person on a more regular basis. These concerns are based on continuing COVID-19 infection rates and exposures, as well as the potential of monkeypox exposure. The union would like to take this opportunity to remind the college and supervisors of the CBA language regarding schedule changes in Article 7.3. Temporary schedule changes lasting 21 days or less require 7 days written notice, and permanent schedule changes require 14 days written notice. Our meetings with Marty. Over the summer term, they were hit and miss. Margaret and I received recently a series of calendar invitations for in-person meetings on Friday afternoons. We have declined that series of meetings, as historically Fridays have been a day reserved for trainings and to catch up on outstanding work, reporting, and staff meetings with our departments. We have asked for a joint meeting with Deb, Josh, and Marty to discuss outcomes for the next year for these meetings. We look forward to a new academic year and hope we can help our students achieve their dreams at OC. Thank you.
Are any questions, trustees?
Thank you, Norma.
Thank you. Okay, next is the Association of Higher Education Board report.
Trustee Hickman, we have Craig Goodman.
There I am. Sorry I could not be there tonight. I had a little scheduling conflict all the way down in Shelton. So I hope you guys are enjoying Shelton. Okay, let me jump in. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. My apologies for not being there. On behalf of AHE, I want to thank all the faculty and employees who are attending in person and in Zoom. Yesterday, I was able to attend, myself and Larry, a good portion of the board's retreat and wanted to provide some perspectives on some of the board reports that I heard. So let me begin, though, with a response to the president's report on enrollment presented to you tonight. Our jobs are literally on the line, and we have been actively engaging with the administration on this. Like Trustee Bryant noted in the retreat yesterday, we're concerned that while the administration scheduled significantly increased number of in-person classes, we're not seeing robust enrollment in these courses. So faculty have been working with students in online settings for years now, and we understand that we can serve many of them online, and that many of them are now relying on online education. Folks have jobs, they have kids with limited childcare options. They need flexibility. And so while we understand the desire to return in person, and many of us want to return to in person, we really must temper this with the actual demand. The faculty union has worked with administration these past years to provide training and support for faculty to better our online teaching, and we feel many faculty can deliver quality education online to our students. I just want to throw that out to you. Faculty are also very concerned with ongoing COVID. So the faculty union has provided timely and thoughtful feedback on changing the vaccination protocol to an attestation model to hopefully improve enrollment. We were just notified of this a couple weeks ago. This, of course, concerns us, though, as we are directly working with the public in our classrooms. This fall, in our classrooms, we will be working in close proximity with students who have claimed vaccination, but now we have limited verification. Add to this that the state has not offered any additional guidance, and we likely will have many students in our classes that, while potentially vaccinated, have not been boosted, which is not a requirement for enrollment. Frankly, we, as in all employees at OC, feel we are simply being left to fend for ourselves. In the report given by Adam Mortis on the COVID situation yesterday, you heard how frustrated the college is with the lack of any updates or guidance from the governor's office. Imagine how frustrated faculty and staff are as we enter into classrooms of 30+ students. It has been over a year since the last clear state guidance for higher education. A year. Adam did a great job expressing his and the administration's frustration, but as I thought about it, I wondered what was being done. Who is banging on the governor's door to get information? And then I wondered what our college president and the other college presidents are doing. What is SBCTC doing? I mean, actually doing. And then I wondered what our board of trustees, who the governor appointed, was doing. As a local president, I am banging on the state union's door for answers, but it is out of my scope to bang on the governor's door, even though he just kind of lives down the street. So I just wondered, what are you doing to address this? A lack of guidance from the governor's office is a significant hindrance to the operations and mission fulfillment of this college. We need guidance, and we needed it yesterday. And speaking of guidance, I did want to finalize and address what occurred at the June meeting with the Faculty Senate providing collective feedback to President Cavalluzzi. Faculty have been asking for years for an ability to provide feedback in a manner that is professional and helpful not only on the performance of our direct supervisors, but also upper administration. We have deans that have been supervising faculty for years with no formal feedback from those they supervise. In my knowledge, the president's own evaluation last year had no opportunity for faculty input. Our deans and the other leadership of this college have direct impact on instruction. Faculty Senate's charter centers around issues that impact instruction. Leadership is an issue that impacts instruction, and leadership at the very top is paramount to our instructional success. And so I was pretty disappointed in the board's response. The faculty union felt it was best for Faculty Senate to take the lead in providing feedback in hopes that feedback would be taken into consideration and perhaps some issues addressed. You see, the faculty union isn't in the business of providing guidance to the president. Instead, we measure faculty confidence in college leadership and evaluate whether you, the board, and your representatives are bargaining in good faith. If the union is going to collectively provide you feedback, it is going to come along with a vote of confidence or the lack thereof. We did not want to take that route, but it seems we might need to explore this. If that is what you wanted, that is likely what you have put in motion with your open dismissal of the feedback provided by Faculty Senate. We had truly hoped Faculty Senate would be a better avenue to communicate and dialogue. The Faculty Senate did not evaluate the president as a personnel matter. They provided input because faculty felt the president could provide improved leadership, as that leadership has a direct impact on instruction. Had there been other avenues offered for faculty to provide input prior to the action of Faculty Senate, I'm confident those would have been utilized, but faculty's repeated requests were never acted on. So here we are. I don't say all this to be confrontational, and honestly, I had hoped for a better starting point with the board this year. But your actions have led us here. I do truly hope that this year the board makes the effort to get to know the employees of OC beyond 3 minutes of our time once a month. I hope you will see for yourselves the work we do. We have an open invitation to visit our classrooms and would be happy to facilitate listening sessions with faculty. I know the state tells you to keep us at arm's length, but is that really the board member you want to be? Disconnected from the people who you are directly impacted by decisions you make. Please get to know us this year. Get to know the people on the ground working with our students each and every day. We're actually pretty nice folks, except for maybe me. Thank you. I'm actually pretty nice too, really.
Thanks, Greg. We'll get back to you on that last point. Okay, any questions? Great. Moving on, Faculty Senate. Briggs.
Good evening. I would like to take this opportunity at the beginning of my comments to respond to the board's comments at the June meeting. The board stated that the Faculty Senate had violated its charter by addressing a personnel matter when we conducted a survey. The personnel matters addressed in Section 5 of our charter refer to faculty personnel matters, and specifically things
that are the purview of a chief. There are several reasons why we chose to address the president through Faculty Senate. The first one was that we were asked to by members of Faculty Senate. Secondly, Faculty Senate represents all faculty, not just the members of the union, not just membership like the union does. And then third, by addressing this through the Faculty Senate, we hoped to avoid a much more formal process that would happen through the faculty union. It was our goal to address the situation without formalizing things at this time. We wanted to give the president an opportunity to address the situation and to improve the relationship. Now, at this time, there has still not been any communication about administrator evaluations. In the June meeting, we were told that you heard us, and I hope that that's true. While I understand that faculty have been off contract, both the union president and myself have been available. Starting out the 2020, and I realize I'm also early in the meeting, so it's possible that things will be addressed later on. But starting out the 2022-2023, which by the way, saying those years just, I don't know how we're here already. Academic year without a clear plan is disappointing to say the least. And I just want to clarify again, what we are looking for is evaluations that allow all faculty, and I don't want to speak for other employees, but I do think I can say other employees, to provide anonymous feedback for administrators, specifically the president and their direct reports. You should know that the phrase a 360 evaluation does not bring up good feelings for most people. What we are looking for is a regular schedule for evaluations that continue based on the person, not the position. We've often been told, well, that position was evaluated several years ago. That's, no, it's got to follow the person. And then a clear plan for administrators to respond to the evaluations with follow-up and improvement plans if necessary. So I hope that there's a plan for this to happen throughout this next year. Now, as I look back over the last 2 years, I have to laugh a little bit. I thought that 2020 was the worst thing that had happened in my teaching career. That sitting in my living room teaching that way was extremely difficult. And I don't want to say that it wasn't, it was. But 2021 was worse, trying to manage that many modes of instruction and things like that. And as things started to loosen up, 2022 was even more difficult. Ever-changing schedules, last-minute requests, all of that stuff was, to be quite frank, overwhelming. And I am sure that 2023 will be even more challenging, and that there will be new, unexpected difficulties. If one more person says the word monkeypox to me, I just don't think that I can handle it. So while this year will be challenging, the faculty look forward to the start of the 2022-2023 academic year and to returning to the classroom, whatever form that looks like. The Faculty Senate has several goals for this year that we will be reporting on throughout our time with you. The first one is to provide feedback on the bookstore contract and how it impacts students and faculty. The second one is to fill all open committee positions and to develop a process for submitting open positions and filling them. And the third is to review and improve the spring awards and the faculty emeritus nomination process. So those are some things. I'm sure there will be more added to that list as whatever new pandemic starts happens, but those are the things we're looking for now. I also just want to let you know that fall sports have started up. And I never get this right, whether it's cross country or track and field, it's in the fall, but they're running outside, cross country, thank you. They're running outside. And then the first in-person event that you can attend is volleyball starting Thursday, September 8th at 7 p.m. This is Coach Carissa Love's second season. The match, game, whatever, will be in the Bremer Student Center, and we would love it if you could join. Obviously, I don't know very much about volleyball, but you can sit by me and I will tell you what I know, which is very little. Thank you.
Elizabeth, can I add a fourth goal?
Yeah.
I would like to have next month start hearing ideas from the Faculty Senate on how we get the 1,000 students we need back to achieve an economic balance of the knowledge of financial stability.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, on to President's report, Board of Trustees.
Stands as submitted.
Construction report. Mark, Kaka?
Martin's joining us remotely.
Hi, thank you. I have nothing more to add to my report unless there are questions.
Are you there?
Yeah,
Okay. Hear you.
I'm sorry, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Thanks. I don't have anything more to add to my report unless there are questions.
No, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Do we have any trustee questions for us? I mentioned in our retreat yesterday, we had to send this report. Any questions for regarding administrative services? Any questions on the human services report? Josh, I'd like to thank you. I came to the meeting in Josh's office a few hours ago when that was his HR team. Talk about CTC Link and some of the many challenges they're having. That's some good notes. I really appreciate that. I felt the frustration. I know how hard people are working here, and I just want to let you know that we're going to do everything we can to elevate this to the state board, see what we can do to accelerate it. So, yeah, thanks, Josh.
Yeah, we appreciate your visit. It meant a lot to our team.
Moving on to communications, web services, and marketing report. Comments? Information technology. Then, do we? Lynn want to address the group?
She has the opportunity, Lynn.
Yeah, the report stands as submitted.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Again, Lynn, thank you. We're really excited about having you in this role. Institutional effectiveness report.
Vice Chair Ekman, with the open executive director for that office position, no report was submitted this month.
College Foundation report.
Stands as submitted, with the exception of, just want to tell everybody on the call that we are going to send out a save the date tomorrow for Monday, October 10th for our annual community luncheon. So look for that in the mail, and also look for that in your email tomorrow, and hopefully everybody can attend.
Any questions? Chief of Staff report.
Yes, so Board of Trustees, I did not submit a written report due to yesterday's extensive, but I did want to provide an update regarding the COVID situation and the proclamation from the governor. And Craig, you're not going to like hearing this either, but we did get word from the state board that they had met with the governor's office along with some other organizations to push reform for the higher education. And the governor's office had informed them that they do not have any intention of updating that anytime soon. So the state board is looking to see how they can address that, and they'll put more information out hopefully by Friday this week. But they were not looking to receive any updates to that proclamation. It's been very disheartening to hear.
If I may add a little more, I actually brought it forward to the WAC retreat in July, but what are we doing here? This is killing us. It's absolutely stopping enrollments. Right? That there's hundreds, if not thousands of enrollments. And then WAC discussed it, and we've been putting a lot of pressure on the state board. And after I saw that today, I was a little late to hear, so I'm trying to call True Hanson. So that's what I'm doing. But it's more than I want to say. Disappointing.
Thank you.
Maybe call for a meeting with all of our state representatives here. That could
I agree. My plan was just to start with Drew, since if he grabs a hold of it,
Yeah, that's right.
yes, I agree. Fine.
Okay, moving on to our consent items. Approval of draft minutes for our June 21, 2022 regular board meeting. Is there any discussion? So we have a motion that's been made and seconded to approve the draft minutes of the June 21st, 2022 regular board meeting minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Or abstaining? Motion carries. Okay, information items, yearly events calendar.
Absolutely, trustees. So you have in front of you the initial yearly events calendar. More will be added to it as we go forward. And if you have anything you would like to have on there, please let me know. I'll be sure to adjust it to meet your needs. A couple of things I'd like to highlight. As Amy mentioned earlier, there is a fly-in at the Bremerton Airport that is co-sponsored by Green River and OC to support our aviation program partnership. That's the 22nd, and I believe there may be a spot or two for a trustee that might be interested in attending. 27th.
Yeah.
I
And the
apologize.
signing ceremony is only like 10:45. It's just like an hour at the most. So yeah, we're very excited about it. Sounds like a great.
Going to be on the 9th of September in Former Woods. If you're interested in putting a team together, more information can be found online and or through the athletics department. Our opening days is the week prior to the start of fall classes, starting on Tuesday. That'll be September 13th. The board is invited and encouraged to attend that. The kickoff will be in the morning of the 13th. And then the next board meeting in September will be on the 20th back in Bremerton. We also have the ACCT Leadership Congress that some of you have signed up for. If others are willing or wishing to attend, please let me know so we can take advantage of the early bird registration rates. That's going to be at the end of October.
And Adam, I had sent you a request about getting a calendar of academic senate meetings. Maybe you could add that to this annual.
Absolutely. I believe they are still on the first Friday of the month at 2:30.
It's the first Friday of the month, unless we are off contract at 2:30.
And Elizabeth, you send out Zoom links for those that week, or is it the same
Yeah,
link for the
usually
entire year?
it's the same link every time, but yeah.
Okay, I will put the same link on there.
We would like to know if someone was planning on coming. It's generally open to the public, but a visit like that would be unusual. So we would be happy to have you, but we would like to know if they're coming.
Okay, no, that's fair. But I think, in the interest of us getting to know you guys better and
Yeah, no, I think that would be great.
what you're doing, I think I'd like the trustees to know, when the meetings are, so we can. That absolutely. Okay, the budget update. Did that get posted right?
It did. Angela Hamilton should be on the call to walk us through that.
Hello.
Angela, your camera's not on yet.
Okay. I was like, you guys don't need to see me, but okay. Good evening, Chair Ekman and the other Board of Trustees. The operating budget to actuals for May 31st, 2022. As you look at the state operating count, revenues are 2% lower compared to the same time last year, and tuition is 2% lower the same time last year. We are at 93% of our budget, and currently we're finishing the end of the year, actually today. So we just have a couple more deadlines that we're working on. Did anybody have any questions about the budget actuals? Thank you.
Okay, since that report was posted late, I think we'll take a look and maybe get back directly to you, Angela, if we have any questions. That'd be great. Thank you, Angela. Moving on to our one action item this evening, which is OC for welding shop renovation, post bid cost increase.
Thank you, Trustee Ekman. Good evening, members of the Board of Trustees. I appreciate the fact that you saved the best for last. Included in your board packets is a resolution seeking your approval to spend up to $2.34 million of mobile funds to help cover cost increases related to the Olympic College building shop renovation project. These cost increases are a result of inflation that's impacted not only labor costs, materials and supplies. The ongoing inflationary process that we're in right now continues to add risk to that project and has resulted in a contract price that is substantially higher than original estimates for that project. The college recommends that the board approve the resolution, and I'll turn the time over to you, Trustee, I think, to respond and ask any questions that the board might have. Any questions? The original cost estimates were around $10.5 million.
Yeah, as I corresponded with Trustee Nelson, $2.3 million of the bottom line college funds. But by the same token, I think we all understand the need to move forward with this. It's a very critical program. This is where I come back to, we've got to start looking at the additional sources of funding, and and turn to us. I think that it's on us to get out and start shaking the trees. We also got a report on the innovation center building, and it works in terms of cost increases, but that's doing that project. If there's no other comments, then
I make a motion to use the local college funds for the shop building.
second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, a motion be made and seconded to approve the use of local college funds to complete the shops building renovation project as presented. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Trustee May I approach, there is a copy of the resolution. Please. That was it for me.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you.
So do we have no executive session for this evening. We have any word from our AAG contract? She wanted an executive session.
I believe President Kevin was going to connect with her.
It's no, it's actually been postponed to September.
Okay, is there anything else for the good of the order? No other items for the good of the order. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for coming.
That concludes tonight's Board of Trustees meeting. Thank you all for attending.
All right. So that was the Board of Trustees meeting there. So hopefully you found that, informative, nice and quick, not the 7 hours of yesterday. So about an hour and a half. Got the reports from professional technical departments. So we will continue to bring you this information as long as they provide it. Do know what I want to say, and I should type this in the chat. Olympic College, let me type a whole word out there. Olympic College has a plethora, a gaggle, cornucopia, if you will, of academic and professional technical programs. There is something there for quite a few people. Again, education can be a very powerful tool to help you to provide for yourself and your family. Do go in, talk with an advisor, plan it out. If you're not sure what to do, there are inventories that you can take to ascertain what your interests may be, what type of things you might enjoy doing, working outdoors, working with your hands, working with people, things like that. So if you're undecided, you're not really sure, if you're looking for a career change, if you're tired of the job or the position that you're in now, OC can be a very viable solution for you. I know that they are going to be working out and rolling out even more folks to help fill out financial aid paperwork. So do that. If it works out for you and everyone's situation is different, working on your 2-year degree, depending on your eligibility, you may not pay anything out of pocket for that. What's awesome is you can put grants and scholarships on top of that oftentimes to help supplement you living while you're trying to get your certificate or your degree. So I encourage you to go in, talk with the advisors, talk with the faculty advisors in the particular disciplines, whether it's welding or nursing. They have information sessions that come up pretty often, and ask questions. Get your questions together. If you can, talk to students that are in the program currently. Talk to students who have graduated out of the program and are working in the field, so you can have an informed decision. Because if you're going to go and work on a certificate or a degree, you are committing to, an amount of time. But this is a great, fascinating, and powerful tool. One of the easiest ways for folks that are coming from a different economic situation to change their economic situation. So it doesn't work for everyone, but it can work for a lot of people. As you saw there were a lot of former employees that started off as students who moved themselves into some really powerful positions as they move forward. So again, a lot of people may not even be thinking, hey, I can even work at the college that I took classes from. That happens for a lot of students at OC. So, I encourage you to check that out. As I said, we will come back the next month and provide more information. I wanted to get into some of that information from last week or from yesterday, but I couldn't do it just because my day was so full. So that was unfortunate. I would have liked to have done that for you. Another thing that I will show you is you can actually go to different tools. And if you're getting ready to go into another quarter, let me just share my screen here. They have things like Rate My Professor. And so you can go in and see how students rate their professors. So when the faculty were talking about rating the administration and those 360 evaluations and things like that, right? They're evaluating each other, but students also get to evaluate faculty. And so this is a good place for you to check. Excuse me for those ads on there. So let's see if we can just do that really quick here. So we're just going to type the college, Olympic College. Did I spell it right? I think I spelled it wrong there. Olympic. All right, there it goes. Boom. Go ahead and click it. And then you type your professor's name in there. So let's see, I'll type mine in there. I'm typing my name in there, and you'll see I'll pop up. Marwan Cameron, General Studies. And you will see I had a rating of 4.8 out of 5. And it looks like 100% said they would take again. The level of difficulty was a 3.6. Notoriously, I was known as a hard instructor. Some of the attributes that they gave me was inspirational, caring, clear grading criteria, participation matters. Absolutely. 100% felt that way. Amazing lectures. I did try to make it interesting for students. Here's one. This is for business math, which a lot of students don't like. Very understanding and invests heavily in well-being of his students. If you're going through something, he will be more than willing to help you out and make accommodations. You probably don't hear that too often about a math teacher, right? His lectures are thorough, easy to follow, and on topic. He's a bit sassy. Oh, but it definitely makes class more fun. As long as you show up and pay attention, you're golden. All right, now I'm sassy. Let's see. Attendance is mandatory. Absolutely. You really need to be present, right? If you think you're going to just, I always hated students that would say, C's get degrees. Now look what I'm looking for in a student. Mr. Cameron is an awesome teacher. I have had him an entire quarter almost daily as he has filled in for my other teachers on days they have missed. I never got tired of him or the way he was teaching. He's all about being successful and seeing you work hard to make yourself successful. He pays attention to everything, so do not be late. Well, one of the thoughts on that is I would get into these philosophical discussions with other faculty, and some would say, "Well, it's a JC, it's a junior college, right? You can't have the rigor that a 4-year university has, like UW." And my counter to that was, "Okay, I understand what you're saying, but of the same respect, many of these students are going to be moving on to University of Washington or University of Washington Tacoma or Seattle Pacific or wherever, right? They're going to transfer. And so they have to be prepared to go into their junior year. If folks are working on the certificate or their degrees, they're going to enter into the workforce, right? And so if you don't have these skills built in now, it's so much more than just learning the actual subject that you're in, right? I'm trying to teach people to be prepared for life. I didn't know there was going to be a pandemic, years after. But as businesses have to shutter or lay staff off, right? Are you going to be essential personnel? Are you unreplaceable? That's what I want to prepare students for. Gen S 131, that is a prep class that you can take to help you get ready to launch. So a lot of new students will take this course, or returning or non-traditional students that haven't been in the academic setting for years. It's a good way to get a good launch. Attendance is mandatory. We'll take again, great teacher, very knowledgeable. CNPRF 173. I don't even remember what that was. Made class very enjoyable and keeps the atmosphere fun. We take this class taught by him again. Another business management. Professor Cameron is excellent educator and his passion for seeing others succeed is very clear. He made so many resources available to those who took advantage. Truly wonderful in addition to the college. Let me see if I can find some bad ones. Here's okay. Professor Cameron is great. He genuinely cares about his students and he knows how to push you to reach your potential. I learned so many valuable academic lessons in the general studies class. He's a very inspirational story and I have a great deal of respect for him. So one of the things I would do is I would teach through my own personal experiences. I was a student at Olympic College, and so you can be a cautionary tale, or folks really can engage when they can empathize with your story and your situation. Let me see, which one is this? Business management. He puts 100% into his teaching. I don't know what class that is. Business management 185 is either negotiations or international business. I can't remember. It's been a minute. The professor is awesome. He cares about his students and their success. Make sure you pay attention to what he is telling you. This is very useful. I took a great deal of knowledge out of the e-business strategies. Okay, that's what it was. I was wrong on both counts, right? So I taught a lot of classes at that college. All right, so you can see that. Looks like that is all of the ratings here on Rate My Professor. So again, when you are taking a class at the college and you're creating your schedule, you will see sometimes you'll have an option to choose from a few different professors. So go in and take a look, see what other students have said. And when I was saying, hey, talk to a student that's in the program, talk to students that graduated the program. This is a way to do that if you don't know anyone to do that. So you can get an idea of what you're going in for, right? As you saw, didn't matter what discipline I was teaching in, they were hearing attendance was mandatory, right? If it's a face-to-face class, I expect for you to be there. If it's an online course, then it's something different. I was a faculty member that did not like extra credit. I felt like if you put 100% into the effort of your regular credit, extra credit wouldn't be needed, right? So anyway, I digress. I'm glad that you guys tuned in. Again, we'll be here next month. Tomorrow, we've got a great show for you. It is Wednesday, so we will have at 1 p.m. Tipping Points and Puzzle Pieces with Mark Boatwright Frost. Resilient Ecosystems at 2 p.m. We have Kitsap Housing and Homeless Coalition, and then at tomorrow night we have City Council. So tune in tomorrow. We've got a full slate of shows for you. And until then, I'm Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit.